Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of Demon Slayer Season 4 on Netflix. And I enjoyed this season. I didn't go for 2 thumbs up on this, mainly because it's shorter. It's 8 episodes, more along the lines of actually 10, because the first episode is an hour long, and the last episode is an hour long. And this is the Hashira training arc, and we do get some interesting kind of character development, seeing Tanjiro pretty much come into his own as an inspiring figure for the rest. Pardon me, there's a bug floating around in here. And seeing how he kind of goes through and learns more from the Hashira, but we don't really get as much into them and learning more about the Hashira, except for certain kind of few ones, like the Stone Hashira. And this also has a nice kind of setup for the next, quote-unquote, Season 5, which is actually going to be a trilogy of movies. So that should be very interesting to see how that works out to kind of end off the Demon Slayer series. Now, I don't know how much more in-depth certain kind of things with the Hashira kind of go within the manga, because I started off with the anime. At some point I will look into the manga because I really like the series and the characters. But I'm kind of holding off at the moment to kind of see how the show kind of does it. So, let us get into this one. We are dealing with the ramifications of the Swordsmith village, which is that this village got kind of fucked up. So we learned that the villagers are kind of like popping off. They've got certain kind of spots that they can do just for this kind of scenario to protect the swordsmiths. We see that Tanjiro gets his blade back, and dude, Mr. Haganeska is just like, ah! And it's like, ah, shit, watch it. We see that because of Nezuko being able to be out in the sun, and the whole thing with the marks and everything has kind of changed up what's kind of going on with the core. We see that demons have kind of retreated. Muzan is trying his best to find Nezuko, and the Master is pretty much trying to get this kind of plan into play. We learn that it is better to train with someone that's had a mark to kind of get a mark, so he's essentially trying to get the Hashira to continue on with this. We learn that there's a negative downside to this, but we do not know exactly what that is, provided upon in this anime season at this point. We see that Giyu, the water Hashira, is like, I really don't want to do this. We kind of see that that could potentially be led to as an arrogance kind of thing, but that it really isn't the case. We also see that the Snake Hashira and the Wind Hashira are trying to rescue this one woman and have this kind of like crazy awesome demon fighting thing going on, action sequence. However, the one demon pretty much is able to escape into the Infinity Castle that is Muzan Kabutsuji's shit. And we also see that the Master decides to get in contact with Tamayo and get her to work with the Hashira Shinobu to do some kind of unspecified stuff. Well, working to learn more about why Nezuko can go into the sun, but also for other kind of countermeasures as well, as we learn towards the end of the season. So, we see that Tanjiro kind of gets up into effect. We see that Zenitsu gets back, and that Inosuke has pretty much been teaching Nezuko how to speak, and she calls Zenitsu Inosuke, and leading to kind of craziness with that. We also don't get too much of Zenitsu, other than him kind of in the beginning and kind of towards the end dealing with the Stone Hashira's training, and then him having a complete kind of personality kind of change, because he gets a certain kind of letter and is really kind of down and kind of more serious. But that's kind of all we get on this effect at the moment. We don't get the full ramifications and understanding of what's going on with him yet. So we see that Tanjiro kind of builds himself back up, has to get the Hashira Giyu to work into the Hashira training, but we see him getting into it, but we don't see him do much with it. Like, Tanjiro tries to pretty much annoy the shit out of him because the Master asked him to, and getting the whole kind of backstory of Sabito and how Sabito, he didn't kill any demons and that he doesn't feel worthy to be alive, but he gets to remember Sabito's thing of like, screw that noise, and gets him back kind of into it and says that you're worth being alive, you survived. Do this kind of shit. And it's kind of cool to see that kind of work out. So he gets him in, but we don't see any of the stuff kind of going on with that. We then have Tanjiro pretty much get through Tengen's kind of training and starting to inspire the demon slayers that are kind of there, pretty much working on their stamina. And that was kind of cool to get them back in with that. But then he switches up to Michiru's stage, and Michiru is just trying to get like pretty much kind of precision down for their strikes, but he is just being unrelentless and just not unrelentless. Just he's just relentlessly going after them and just not really being a good kind of teacher. He's just like beating their asses down. Unrelentless, yeah. Sorry about that. He's just really hammering in on them. But he's got a soft spot for Tanjiro because of what they went through in the Swordsmith Village. And they have this cool little thing where they do these paper airplanes, and Michiru is able to kind of like connect with them a little bit more and kind of inspire them. We then get to Michiru and doing the flexibility. That was kind of funny. But then we get to the Snake Hashira, and he, of course, is sweet on Michiru, and pretty much is fucking with Tanjiro as he's trying to be able to, like, really do a more kind of precise kind of hit with his strikes. There's this Boken that's between, like, bound trainees, and then evidently these trainees are like this for kind of a punishment, but he's able to go through and links up with Zenitsu. And this is where we get to Sanema, who is Genya's brother, and the Wind Hashira, and it just gets nutty because Genya pretty much brings up the whole thing of him eating demons, and he pretty much goes into kill mode against his brother, but Tanjiro pretty much tries to fight him off, and of course gets kicked out of his training. It's like, okay. And we see, as this is going on, that one of Muzan's upper demons is using their eyes to pretty much go and keep tabs on everybody. We see that the Snake and Wind Hashira are training and having kind of craziness as they then also bring in Michiru as well into the training. And it's like, oh shit. Let's see. And then we get towards the last one, which is the Stone Hashira, as it's pretty much doing muscles, and it's nuts, like standing under a waterfall, moving these kind of logs and shit, trying to move this boulder, and then we start learning the Stone Hashira's whole kind of story of him being pretty much like this monk dude. Goame's, let me see. Hamejima, yeah. And let's see. Because we see him pretty much working together and connecting with Tanjiro, because Tanjiro was able to use this repetitive kind of motion action that he learned from Genya. And we see Tanjiro being able to inspire people by fighting against the Hashira and keeping on track with them. But also we see him cooking meals and everything, and they're like, oh god, you're like our mom, man, you're awesome. As he's able to do these things, and just how he's able to inspire these people, and then Genya kind of helping him out. And we learned that the Stone Hashira he really wasn't this big to begin with. He was kind of skinny and everything, and he was taking care of all these orphans, and they had a really kind of good family. But one of the children went out late, and in order to save their life, they sacrificed the rest of the kids and the Stone Hashira. and we see that the kids are all killed and everything, and he tried to save the rest of them, but only one of them stayed and listened to him. It was this little girl. However, she said that he was a monster after the end, and he was pretty much getting ready to be executed before the master intervened. Because the girl's remarks were misinterpreted. And of course, that really kind of made him not really trustful. Let me see. So we see that Cinema, the Wind Hashira, found one of the demon eyes and crushed it. Like, what the hell? But we see that Muzan enters Ubuyashiki's kind of mansion to confront Kaguya, leading us pretty much to the end. And brings up the whole kind of bloodline and the family curse, and that they pretty much have to marry these priestesses to kind of keep everything kind of going. But we see that the Hashira are understanding what's kind of going on as they pretty much try and get to the mansion, as the master pretty much set himself and his family ablaze, pretty much setting this kind of trap to explode Muzan, who's acting like demons are more kind of like vampires in here, as he's pretty much trying to regenerate. But Tamayo appears and like injects him with like this kind of drug before the Stone Hashira decapitates him, but of course that fails to take his ass out. And they kind of start fighting, but as pretty much Tanjiro and the rest kind of arrive, Muzan's accomplices are able to open the doors to the Infinity Castle and pretty much brings in all the active demon slayers. So what they were doing was also trying to find Nezuko, but they take all of the demon slayers into the castle. It's like, oh shit. So I would have been fine with another kind of like season or two. That's what it took. I don't mind them going a trilogy of movies. I just hope they're able to tell the story in a nice kind of way that works out. I think that they can do it, because we got the Mugen Train movie that was really well done. And then we saw the anime adaptation, which I think was really well done as well, which is kind of hard because normally you're going to gravitate from one or the other. I was fine with both of them. I didn't feel like the movie condensed too much or that the show lengthened it too much. That is a hard thing to accomplish. Normally when you have two kind of different adaptations and two pretty much different mediums, now you're probably like, what do you mean two different mediums? A movie's got a different objective and a different kind of time frame run that you can do versus a show. If you try and make a movie the same amount of time as a show, you're going to have a bad time. And you're going to get into some inconsistencies with what's kind of happening. But this worked out. So we'll see how this trilogy kind of works out. That also worries me because I like the character depth and development that we get in the show, though the weakness of this one is that we only go into certain kind of ones, like the Stone Hashira. We learned that the Hashira Shinobu is trying to go after the demon that killed her sister. So we've got a lot of kind of things juggling up. We'll see what the problem is with the mark that Tanjiro, Michiru, and Mitsuru have now had, but we haven't seen any big downsides yet. We'll see Tanjiro's new sword in action. I mean, we saw it in the Swordsmith Village, but now that it's pretty much up to snuff and he has gone through Hashira training, even though it's kind of like abbreviated. And we don't really get much training montage. We get small snippets, I mean, throughout most of the kind of training, but it doesn't overstay its welcome and it doesn't understay it where it's like, I don't even know that he actually fucking did anything. And Nosuke kind of got shortchanged a little bit in this, but I think it's mainly down to they don't really have much for him at this stage. Hopefully we get some nice kind of use out of him in the movie trilogy, seeing him just kind of go beast fanging it all the way out. Maybe we'll see a little bit more of Zenitsu utilizing different kind of thunder breathing techniques now that he has had a certain kind of shock to his system. There's a lot of different kind of things at play, and this is going to be hard to kind of wrap it up, shifting from anime seasons to the 3-movie trilogy. I still have faith in them because they've been putting out a very good product, and it's been beautifully animated, and they're able to get into lore, characters, world building. It's fucking on point. I like the music and everything that's going on, the openings and the endings. It just hits for me, and I can't wait to see where this kind of ends. I just have trepidations that are there, but they're still pretty much allayed because I'm like, hey, these people know what they're doing, and I can't wait to see where this goes next, and what's going to be going on with Nezuko as well. So those are my opinions on this season. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.